This can be an incredibly challenging fight, and one of the things you're going to see right away with this is that I'm using a heavy build, so I tend to block a lot. But even in this fight, I can only block so many attacks because he hits so hard and does so much key damage, even with all the toughness I have, block on my weapon, etc. So you're going to see that I even opt to dodge a lot of times where I could block, just to save a little bit on the key management. One other note is just that he doesn't seem weak to lightning at all. In fact, he seems incredibly resistant to it. If you're seeing me use lightning in the video, it's only because I was working on my Golden Scythe build. I was testing things out. So that's what I'm using primarily in this video. It doesn't seem to work incredibly well against this boss in terms of lightning damage, so disregard the lightning damage that I'm doing. Although the electrified status, when I did set it on him, slowed him down a little bit, which made him a lot easier to dodge. So a couple tips. When he does his sort of charge at you with a sweeping attack when he's in his normal mode, this is a good time to just dodge behind him and get in some attacks if you can. When he's in the Dark Realm, you don't want to do this because he'll usually follow it up with like 2 or 3 attacks, and he'll pretty much cut you down if you're wearing anything less than medium armor when this happens. So only do this in the normal realm. Another thing to note here is that he does a lot of overhead vertical attacks that generally hit in a sort of column in front of him straight outward. So you're going to want to run or move, dodge left or right a lot during this fight and not forward and backward, except in the case where I just said where I dodged through him. But generally speaking, you're going to want to move left and right more often than forward or backward, because otherwise you're going to get caught in the AoE that generally follows in this column, and that is true for the majority of the fight. Another thing I want to mention is that his burst attacks, these are the ones that glow orange, are very difficult to counter, or at least they were for me. The timing on them is very weird, and I failed more often than I succeeded, which is just generally not the case with most bosses you fight. So if you're having difficulty handling the burst counter with his burst attacks, I suggest just trying to avoid his burst attacks rather than trying to counter them, unless you can really get that timing down. The last thing I want to mention is that projectiles work exceptionally well for this fight, whether you're a ninjutsu user or an Omnia magic user. There is lots of openings to get attacks off of these techniques, because he tends to do these rather long animations, so you can just sidestep them, cast a spell, sidestep them, cast a spell, or ninjutsu, and it works really well, so don't be afraid to spam these at will.